Hello everyone! Mondstadt is not the first region where a traveler appears, however it is here that we learn the basics of the world. In Mondstadt we first learn what visions are, who the archons are, who among them has authority, who should be friends with and who should be fought with. It seems like a simple and straightforward starting location. The archon there seems to be a carefree lyre-playing simple bard who likes to drink, but is the region really that simple? There are many questions and, as a result, theories about this place in the fandom as much remains unclear, as if left to the prospect of plot development. Today I propose to identify the most interesting plot twists and delve deeper into the mysteries of the region of freedom. To begin with Archon, in the story Barbatos appears as a weak and irresponsible deity who from time to time turns a blind eye to his people, all the while reminding them that the inhabitants of his realm are free. Therefore let the people solve their own problems, and in the meantime he will gladly drink to their health. With this approach, Barbatos missed the emergence of a totalitarian regime in Mondstadt, one that involved slavery and sacrifice. Also, Venti slept through the first civil war against this regime and did not prevent the brutal repression after the end of the war. By some miracle, he caught the second revolution, but then again allowed Fatui to increase his influence in the region, allowed government corruption, and endless abyss order attacks. Reading about Venti's past, it seems that his becoming an Archon happened by accident. After all, he did not kill the Caribbean who ruled over Old Mondstadt, nor did he defeat Andrius, the other contender for the title of Archon. The Caribbean was defeated by a human, and the wolf gave up the title, leaving Barbatos as the only possible candidate. At first glance, Venti may not seem too impressive, but a deeper look into the story reveals that it's not that simple. For example, in a random quest with a secret island in Mondstadt, a piece of paper reveals Barbatos' connection to the time goddess Istaroth. She is one of the 4 shining shades of the primordial one, which surpasses even archons in power. The description states that Istaroth is the goddess of 1,000 winds, and Venti is one of the winds originating from 1,000 winds. This makes us realize that either Istaroth is the mother of Barbatos, or he is the 1,000th part of her. What if this kinship means nothing, and Venti is to Istaroth as Aranara is to Nahida? The sacrificial weapons description tells how, at the end of the Andrius and the Caribbean confrontation, people tired of the bitter cold erected the Thousand Winds Temple. Here, they performed rituals consisting of songs, poems, and martial dances in order to reach the heavens that could solve their problems. The result of these prayers was a small breeze, growing stronger every day. The people prayed to Istaroth but received Venti, indicating a clear connection, confirmed by a quote from the description of the bow. On the cliff facing the eastern sea, the ancestors worshipped the masters of time and Anemo together. The two are intimately related, as expressed in the saying, Anemo brings stories while time nurtures them. The biography of the Gunhildr clan states that the future Barbatos gained his first powers through prayers. Quote, as they prayed for salvation, a wind spirit that would later be known as Barbatos responded to their prayers. The sincere prayers of the young chief's daughter and her request for help against the snow and storms were transformed into faith that went to the wind spirit, empowering it. The goddess Istaroth continued to be prayed to, but even so, Venti received all the power of the prayers. Since he was part of her, we can conclude that he is not just an ordinary archon, but part of a deity that has great power. Barbatos is also able to control time, and this has been shown several times, but let's leave that for discussion another time. Right now, it's important not to believe his words that he's the weakest of the archons or the spectacle he made in the battle with Signora. Don't mind him, he's bound to prove himself again. Continuing the Venti discussion, let's remember the quest with Dainsleif, where we encounter an upside-down statue of Barbatos. Why did Abyss Order choose it rather than the statue of another archon? For starters, let me remind you that Abyss Order planned to use the statue to create an artificial god that could destroy Celestia. In addition to the Ventti Statue, Abyss Order's plan was to utilize the eye of the first cultivator, Osiel's tentacles, and Abyss's power. This motif of Abyss Order has long been known and is completely understandable. The Ventti Statue is the most appropriate tool, the easiest to accomplish the goal. According to the description of the wings from Fontaine, the creature becomes a demonic god by receiving a piece of Fanes. Any demonic god can be used to connect with Celestia. Venti is closely related to one of the 4 shining shades of the primordial one, so in a sense he is a descendant of Fanes. The statues of the 7 are the sources of their power, as is clear from the beginning of the game. This particular statue contains the powers of Anemo Archon, as well as the power of Fanes. Moreover, there should be a minimal bit of Istaroth's power in there, considering that Venti was indeed created by her. This would explain the choice of Abyss Order, seeking to maximize the concentration of Celestia's power, but why was the statue upside down? It could be due to directionality towards the source of Abyss or proper positioning in this world. According to Tignari, Irminsul is growing downwards. That is, everything we see in the game is the roots of Irminsul, while the branches, greenery, and fruit are underground. When viewed in relation to the growth of Irminsul itself, this is the correct place. On the huge Ventti statue in Mondstadt at the bottom, it says Gateway to Celestia. Many players have been trying to figure out what this phrase is, as it sounds a bit obscure. Perhaps Mondstadt will indeed be the gateway to Celestia, and thanks to this statue we can get there. Given the mysteriousness of the region and Venti's connection to Istaroth, this is likely. It is very symbolic that where there was a beginning, there may be an end. Perhaps Istaroth traveling through time and getting lost in it, as mentioned in the notes on that island, left many clues and hiding places. These clues may not be for us, or they may be for us. She may have known we were coming thanks to her ability to see into the future. Either way, we're the ones who end up using her clues. I have another suggestion about this. If you trace where the statue's hands are pointing, you can see that they point to Spiral Abyss. In the description of Spiral Abyss, it says that by climbing the exact same staircase, you can reach Celestia. Therefore, if the stairs look exactly the same, it is possible that this staircase can be reached as well. Thus, the statue may not be a gate, but merely pointing the direction to it. Let's try to deviate a bit from the Venti topic. Let's talk about Albedo, a character that never fails to generate lively discussions among the players. A few years ago, Albedo talked about the possibility of losing control of himself, which could lead to the destruction of Mondstadt. He also noted that he hoped that in such a situation, the traveler would be able to stop him. The origins of these concerns lie in the fact that Albedo is the creation of an alchemist from Cainria named Rhinedottir. He is not her only child. He has many siblings created using similar technology. Among them, Albedo is Rhinedottir's best creation, a perfect human but still dangerous to the world. Details are revealed in the Fontaine region. It is revealed that early Rhinedottir creatures, such as a Melusine named Elinas, despite their birth in Abyss, were benevolent beings not seeking to harm anyone. Melusines and other Rhinedottir creatures essentially come from Abyss, where chaos and disorder are seen as something normal. I can draw an analogy with sharks that explore shapes by touching them with their teeth due to the lack of hands, not knowing how to interact with an object, unintentionally biting people. So for example, enlarged dragons can cause destruction completely unintentionally, but simply due to a lack of understanding of their size. So too, the creatures that came out of Abyss from a completely different environment may simply not realize that they are creating chaos. Albedo fears the moment when his consciousness switches and he begins to see the world differently. The Mondstadt he is familiar with may not seem right, and he will want to fix it. In fact, instead of saving it, Albedo may begin to destroy it himself. As seen in Elena's story, he realized too late what was even going on, and the same mistake could happen to Albedo. However, it's much worse than that because Albedo is already attached to Mondstadt and is motivated to save the region. Albedo may look like a human, but he comes from Abyss, similar to other creatures such as Melusines and Durin. So his initial view must be like other creatures, but Rhinedottir has reprogrammed him, so Albedo's views are the same as normal humans. But how long would such a program work? Can anything break it? Back to Venti. One day, Venti meets Hexenzirkel, or rather, the witches decided to challenge him for reasons that remain unknown, but Barbatos offered peace, and they agreed. That being said, it is obvious that Venti knows what the witches do. Why did the witches choose Mondstadt for their meetings? Why did they challenge Venti in particular? This remains a matter of conjecture. Perhaps the key lies in the history of the place, or its proximity to Celestia and Spiral Abyss, or the witches are interested in Abyss order. Maybe most of the witches hail from here. Barbalaw is connected to Dornman Port, and Andersdotter wrote her books here, making it a very logistically convenient location. But still, this location for their meetings remains an odd coincidence. Well, that's the end of my story. Thanks for watching. Write in the comments what you think about Mondstadt and its secrets. Subscribe to my channel. It gives me more motivation to make videos more often and make them more interesting. See you soon.